Hello, welcome to Aim4Game, Volume 4. This is, for those who don't know or haven't been here before, it's a video game show, so we'll mainly have focus on the music produced for some specific games that we've chosen. And then there will be a bit walk through the games as well, because we all love video games. I have invited Frederik again, and I promised him that if I invite him, we can't avoid to talk about Zelda, which is a very good thing, because Frederik, he has probably spent 500 hours of Zelda in this new year, so I think he deserves a talk about Zelda. I would like to not wear this one because I bought a new T-shirt from a shop in Ydånsgade. It's called Nintendo Pusheren, which is here. If you cannot see, it says Nintendo Pusheren. It's a really cool shop with a lot of vintage games for different consoles through the years. Yeah, and they also have new games, but it's a pretty cool shop. The guy, he knows a lot about games. Not too much about the music, but that's okay. What did I want to say? Yeah, we'll go through some different categories today. And I prepared some platform classics, some retro games. We're going to talk about some Zelda. We have a little undefined, very funny, silly Japanese game with great tunes. And then we will have an open world classic that we both played in the end. The first game I will talk about is that's Prince of Persia. There was a lot of changes in the game. The first one is from 1989. It's made by Jordan Mechner, and it's a really retro classic. It's kind of a platform. Like platform is like you can go to one side or the other. It's from 89, so it's very basic. And yeah, it's a really interesting game because the person who made the game, this guy, Jordan Mechner, he used this technology called it's called rotoscope technology. So it's a little bit like stop motion, where he asked his brother to it's a way to like to give the character a little bit more human-like features. So he asked his brother to stand in this square, and then every time he makes a move, he kind of take a photo of it and like frame it, so it goes into this like animated character. It's called Prince of Persia, so you would expect the character to look a bit like a guy from the Middle East, but somehow he has like blonde hair, which is maybe a little bit weird. The first game of Prince of Persia has this very like dark 8-bit intro that I would like to play for you. It's really short, very basic, but I think it portrays this like dark atmosphere that the game has. It's coming here. It's just like a very short intro. In 1999, that was the first release of a Prince of Persia 3D game. And I never played it, but I looked at this walkthrough, and it's kind of, you can really see that it's the first 3D game on the market, because it is 3D, but sometimes the characters, they have this very like flat look, so they look a bit like you're fighting sticks or something. It looks a little bit weird, but probably at that time it was very new technology. But it's interesting how this has developed so much. Another part of Prince of Persia from 2003, I think that's the most impressive Prince of Persia game, like scenery-wise, music-wise. It's called The Sands of Time. It's made from Ubisoft, and they had this composer called Stuart Chatwood, and he's also known for a band called The Tea Party, which is like this a bit European mixed with Middle Eastern music. Fits very well to the game. The whole scenery is more bright, more fantasy looking in a way, and I think the music fits very well to this whole new upgraded version of Prince of Persia that I'm gonna show you now. The first one is called Welcome to Persia. It's the intro song. It comes here. Yeah, definitely more Middle Eastern, and the whole character also, I think they adapted a little bit to the whole scenery a bit better. Like the old one is also a platform game that is very simple, but people do still play this game quite a lot. Like they also made a remade version of Prince of Persia Classic, just with like a newer character, a bit upgraded in the scenery, but it's definitely a very characteristic game, and all the Prince of Persia games also has this a bit, I really like this element of puzzles. Like you always have to solve some clues, or there is a lot of like obstacles you have to get around, and makes the game more interesting, besides from all these like knife fights and beautiful fantasy worlds. I'm gonna play one more from same one. It's a bit more dramatic, that also portrays this, it's called Trouble in the Barracks. And I think it portrays this dramatic, dangerous scene quite well. It comes here. Definitely more action-based. I think these tracks gives a very well feeling of like how much Prince of Persia has developed with technology and time, and also the games like the Sands of Time is like the first game of the trilogy, And music-wise, these 3 games from 2003 to 7, I think. Don't hold me up on that. The music is very different, also because the whole scenery is quite different. So the last song I'm going to show from Prince of Persia from 2004. It's called The Warrior Within. That is definitely more dark again. They go a bit back to the dark scenery. And there they use this a bit, what to say? It's a bit mix of like metal, rock, and drum and bass. And I thought it was quite cool. It's called The Mystic Caves. Yeah, I think it's quite interesting to see this development in the music from the retro games to the bit newer ones. Like this one is from 2004, but still like a lot of development in the game, the scenery and the music. Skipping over to you, Frederik. You're also gonna show us a bit some Zelda with the classics and a bit newer productions. Could you elaborate a little bit on the game that you wanna introduce us to?
First of all, I want to say thanks again for having me on your show. So the first game I chose for today, it's called Link's Awakening. If anybody played that, it's originally a Game Boy game, the first Zelda game for Game Boy from 1993, which was remade into a Switch game in 2019. It's basically a one-to-one remake, but in 3D, but it still retains the top-down 2D, but completely with remade, fresh-looking graphics. So essentially, it's the same game, but it just looks and feels fresh. And they remade all the music, so I think by showing the music, it shows an example of how it was made one-to-one, because it's still the same melody, still the same notes, but it sounds completely modern and fresh. It's made with this a bit of a silly toy-like aesthetics, and I think it's shown, it's reflected in a lot of the tracks and the sounds. It was actually the plot of this game. The whole plot is happening inside a dream of a fish, and it was inspired by Twin Peaks. So the whole game is very weird and strange, but it's one of the Zelda fan base's favorites. And I will show, with all of the tracks, I will show the original Game Boy soundtrack for a little bit to give you an idea, and then fade over to the modern version of it.
Super nice. Thank you, Frederik. I think something I thought about the other day is that I always really like to play video games and watch animes and like animated movies. And then I was like, what is it exactly that I really like from it? And I think it's just like you don't have only your fantasy is the limit. You don't need some human characters to step in and do some movements. You can really just come with an idea, and then it's just pure imagination how the game or the anime turns out, and you can literally do everything. And I really admire these people who can visualize their imagination so much. I think that's a really amazing skill. Big respect for that. The next game I'm going to talk about is also a classic, a platform classic. It's called Rayman. It's also made by Ubisoft. It's from 1995. And Rayman is a character that is like, it's quite childish, but it's actually not the easiest game. It's not really made for kids, I would say. Or like, I played it as a kid, but I never accomplished the game because it was too hard. I think the whole scenery of Rayman is really exciting, and it's very, it's pure fantasy world, and you're this little guy who has this like flying body. He's not connecting to his legs or his arms, And then he's like, he can kind of do everything because he can like jump really high with his legs. He can shoot people with his arms. He can fly with his hair, and he's really he's a very amazing character. And I can really like I just really loved this character also when I was a bit younger. The music for the first Rayman game is composed by Remy Gatzel, and the creator of the game is called Michel Ancel. It's a French game from Ubisoft. And I think also this synthy, very delightful music portrays this fantasy world of Rayman quite well. And it's pretty short bits, so I will just play them through each other. Comes here. Pretty, I think the whole soundscape, it's really portrays the game very well. It's this very small, cute, fantasy, explorative world that is in the graphics as well. Rayman 2, The Great Escape, is a game from 2000s, and was one of the first PlayStation games I played. I really have a lot of vivid memories from playing this game, but as I said before, it was actually quite hard to finish, but maybe also considering that I was only 6 years old, it maybe, like, did you also have this feeling that sometimes you played a game as a kid and then you went back to the game like several years after, and then you've realized, okay, like you have a complete different feeling about the game, or you understand the language and you can read and you can speak English, and then suddenly it's like, okay, it was actually not that hard.
Yeah, we only have one microphone today, so of course, I mean, it's especially some of the first games I played Pokemon on Game Boy, and I didn't understand English, so but somehow I was able to manage and go through the game, and then maybe even learn some English through that. And then, of course, a lot of the games, which was super hard as a kid, revisiting them now as an adult, it's so easy. You just like every puzzle is like right in front of you, and you just solve it. It's like you can't even understand how difficult it was as a kid. But of course, it's made for kids. Some of these games are probably not made for adults, and then when you revisit them, it's extremely nostalgic, but not very challenging. But I think some games are maybe more for us now, more for nostalgic purposes, because they obviously are made for kids. But I think also a lot of these games that were made for kids now are focused for an audience that were kids at a point, and now it's still made for the same people. So were made for us when we were kids in the 90s, and now it's made for us as adults in the 20s. And there's maybe something with the games following a generation. Just a thought I had.
I agree on that. I still believe that Rayman 2 was a very complicated game, but I will show some music from this wonderful game. It was made by Eric Chevalier, who's also a very great pianist and game music producer. He also created some music for some commercials. But I will choose something here. It's called The Woods of Light, and it comes here. I remember this scene so much. It was kind of like you finished the second chapter, and then you kind of have this joyful melody that gives you kind of energy to like go further with the game. It gives you like this joyful feeling. Last track from Rayman 2. I found this dance mix of one of the tracks, Top of the World, that I will play for you, because there's no Aim4Game without some drum and bass gaming tracks that comes here.
finally I can talk about Zelda again. The next game I want to talk about is again a remake, or not actually a remake. It's a remaster, because it's essentially, it is just the same game but released and now in HD. And it was initially released for the Nintendo Wii, and the whole game took a lot of use of motion control. So you were playing like swinging a sword like this, and a lot of people hated it. And most people that play Zelda, they don't want to swing a sword. They actually just want to sit in the sofa and play with a controller. So when this game was remade for the Switch, you could do that, and then all the annoying things with the original version was fixed, and then you can actually enjoy the game for what it is. And this is what I did now. Recently, I finished this game last week, and I think it's one of the more underrated Zelda games, and especially the music is super nice. It's more of an orchestral approach, more epic sounding, emotional, atmospheric. And I will play, I chose 3 different tracks from this. This is the main theme, and it sounds like this. Extremely epic. The next track from the same game is the theme song of your in every Zelda game you have this company that follows you around and gives you tips and explains to you how you should proceed. And in the original game, this character was extremely annoying, told you extremely obvious things all the time, and you couldn't really disable this voice. But in the new version, they made a lot of it optional, and that turned out that you actually, or I actually felt super sad when this character said goodbye at the end of the game. And this song is called Fights for Farewell. And when that song played, I got super emotional and I cried a small tear. And then the last track from this game I wanted to play is the soundtrack of this desert region. So it has some similar atmospheres to both some of the tracks you played from Rayman, but also from Prince of Persia. And I think, along with this whole game, just has a phenomenal soundtrack. All of the tracks sound really nice, but these three are my top favorites.
Beautiful music scenery. Now for a little game changer. Very funny. It's probably the most quirky, silly game I've ever played. It's called Katamari. It's a very Japanese game from 2004, made by Namco. Again, like a funny reference with this, like only imagination sets the limits, and this is just you are this little vault boy, or he's kind of like space little character avatar that he has to he talk with these royalties that has to send him to Earth, and then he has to roll the whole Earth up in this ball. It's a very simple game, but you're just rolling this ball, and then you start rolling small things. So it would be like a little tube of mayonnaise. It would be like a little Coca-Cola, and then it's like, you know, the obstacles gets bigger and bigger, and in the end you have rolled the whole earth into this ball, a bit like this insect that rolls shit. And there was a quote I found on YouTube where this woman, she wrote like, Katamari Damacy is the most invigorating, frustrating, stressful, stress-reducing, enjoyable, satisfying, joyous game ever made. And I think that describes it very well. I will play a little tune for it. I think that sets the whole atmosphere when you meet these royalties that is sending you to Earth. Comes here. Definitely a very sassy tune or sound. I don't know what to call it. Play another one that kind of portrays the more stressful part of this game, but it's still like a pretty nice track. Comes here. It's called Wanda Wanda. should start playing some more game soundtracks for my DJ sets. That would be awesome. I have one more for you from Katamari. It's a great, great, great game. Such a simple, great game.
Some very quirky and funny, tasteful sounds from this game. The last game for today is a game we both played, because today it's been very obvious that you're a PlayStation girl and I'm a Nintendo boy. But this game is it's not yet for Nintendo, but I did play it as well. And it's a game that I think a lot of people also played. It's called Red Dead Redemption 2, and it's made from the same producers as GTA. And it's in a way very similar, but also very different. I think Red Dead Redemption has... It feels it's so extremely atmospheric. The graphics are insane. The atmosphere is so nice. The music is so immersive. It feels basically like you're playing a slow western. The story is really driving it. You're feeling like you're you're acting as the character. This is also another game that the ending made me cry. And I binge played it during lockdown, Corona lockdown, and I think listening to these tracks, it's putting me directly back in a place and the mood and atmosphere. And it was hard to choose just one because the whole soundtrack is amazing. But the one track I chose, it's from the region called Lemoyne, which is this southern region where you have some swamps and some bandits, and it still has this very Western cliche vibe to it, but it's still very atmospheric, and it sounds like this.
Red Dead Redemption by Rockstar. It's definitely a really nice game, open world game. I think we have moved towards the end. We had a bit delay today, but we are out of games. And yeah, it has been a pleasure, and thank you so much, Frederik, for joining my show again. It was really nice to have a Zelda Volume 2.
Well, thank you again for having me. Now I think I will go home and play Zelda.
And also, you never get too old to play video games, so keep on playing games. Thank you.